Have you ever thought about someone out of the blue, only to receive their message moments later, or walked into a room and heard exactly the words you needed spoken by a stranger? These are not just coincidences. They are whispers from life itself, signaling that something deeper is unfolding, something that connects your inner world to the patterns of the universe. What if I told you that these moments hold the key to understanding your purpose, your path, and your power? The idea of synchronicity as meaningful coincidence emerges from a deep observation of life's seemingly random events aligning with internal states of being. On the surface, the world appears governed by causality, one event leading to another through logical, physical chains of action and reaction. But there are moments when the external world answers something inside us, not with logic, but with meaning. These are the moments that transcend ordinary understanding, moments when two or more events occur simultaneously or in close proximity, and while they lack a clear causal link, they carry profound significance for the individual experiencing them. Imagine you've been wrestling silently with a difficult choice, whether to leave a job, end a relationship, move to a new city. You haven't spoken a word of it to anyone, but it fills your thoughts and emotions. Then, out of nowhere, a billboard flashes a quote that seems directly addressed to your situation. Later, a friend you haven't heard from in years sends a message saying, "I had a dream about you last night. Are you okay?" These are not just coincidences. They are mirror events that reflect the tension and intention inside you. They arise from the interconnectedness between your psyche and the fabric of the world around you. To understand synchronicity, one must let go of the rigid expectation that everything must be proven through cause and effect. Meaningful coincidences are not about how things happen. They are about what they mean when they happen. The psychological experience of meaning becomes more important than the mechanics behind the events. For the person involved, a synchronicity feels intimate and personal, as though the world itself is participating in their emotional and spiritual life. It's not just something that happens, it's something that happens to you and for you. This phenomenon challenges the idea of the self as isolated. Instead, it points toward a universe that is participatory, where internal states can mysteriously echo in the external world. It implies that there is some kind of underlying order, a hidden pattern in which inner thoughts and feelings are not disconnected from outer experiences. When you are in tune with yourself, your true desires, your deep questions, your inner conflicts, you become more attuned to the symbols and signals that surround you. You begin to notice the music beneath the noise, the connection beneath the chaos. People often describe these moments as uncanny, sacred, or magical. A chance meeting that changes the course of your life. A song on the radio that seems to respond to your innermost thought. A sequence of numbers or dreams that appear just when you need guidance. These moments don't provide explanations, but they offer direction. They affirm that your life is not unfolding in isolation, that your questions do not echo into a void, but are heard somehow, somewhere. In this sense, synchronicity is not about predicting the future or controlling outcomes. It's about entering into a dialogue with life itself. It requires openness, presence, and sensitivity to the symbolic nature of experience. You can't force a synchronicity to happen, but when it does, it has the power to awaken you, to shake you out of passive existence and into a deeper awareness of your path, your choices, and the invisible threads that bind your inner and outer worlds. The psyche, or the inner world of thoughts, feelings, dreams, and intuitions, does not exist in isolation from reality. It is, in many ways, a mirror to it. The events and patterns of our outer lives often reflect, respond to, or even emerge from the conditions of our When you begin to notice how your internal states are echoed in the situations and people you encounter, you begin to understand the profound interplay between the psyche and reality. This idea is not simply metaphorical, it is experiential. Life has a way of projecting the contents of the unconscious into the field of experience, where they can be seen, confronted, or embraced. Every individual carries within them a vast realm of unspoken desires, unresolved conflicts, hopes, wounds, and symbolic images. These aspects of the psyche do not remain inert. They seek expression, often unconsciously, and in doing so they may influence the way we perceive and engage with the world around us. When you carry a belief about your worth, for example, you begin to filter the world through that belief. If you carry shame or fear, it often colors your interpretation of events and may even unconsciously draw you towards situations that confirm those feelings. On the other hand, if you nurture a sense of hope or self-love, life seems to offer reflections of those energies too. The psyche is not neutral, it is magnetic. There is an ancient wisdom embedded in the notion that the world is a reflection of the self. Dreams, for instance, are often symbolic messages from the unconscious, but dreams are not limited to sleep. In a more subtle sense, waking life also becomes a dreamlike mirror, especially when we begin to notice recurring symbols, patterns, or emotional themes. These symbolic moments, conversations, images, sensations often serve as messengers. They bring into conscious awareness something that is stirring below the surface. The psyche's mirror is not always clean or easy to read. It is often distorted by unresolved emotions or filtered through personal history. Yet, when synchronicity occurs, it offers a moment of clarity, as if the mirror has been wiped clean for a brief second. A situation or symbol in the external world arises with such resonance that it becomes undeniable. Something deep inside you has found its reflection outside. These moments don't just affirm that the world is listening, they suggest that the world is, in some mysterious way, participating in your personal evolution. This phenomenon can also be seen in how we relate to others. Relationships are often the richest mirrors. The qualities we admire or reject in others frequently reveal aspects of our own psyche that we have not yet acknowledged. We are drawn to others who reflect back something we need to learn, something we need to heal, or something we are becoming. Even conflict can be a mirror, revealing where we are stuck, where we fear, or where we must grow. The synchronicities in relationships, chance meetings, uncanny similarities, repeated encounters, often act as signposts, guiding us toward greater self-awareness. When one becomes attuned to this dynamic, life begins to feel less random and more participatory. The events that unfold are no longer just happenings, they are communications. The psyche, in this view, is not just a receiver of reality, but also a co-creator of it. It speaks in symbols, emotions, and intuitions, and when we learn to listen, we begin to see our lives not as disconnected fragments, but as a coherent, evolving narrative in which the inner and outer worlds reflect one another in subtle and astonishing ways. The concept of a collective unconscious refers to the idea that beneath the surface of individual awareness lies a vast, shared reservoir of symbols, patterns, and psychological energies common to all human beings. This domain is not shaped by personal experience alone, but is inherited, embedded within the human psyche, much like instinct is embedded in the body. It transcends culture, language, and time, offering a kind of universal psychic blueprint from which dreams, myths, and synchronicities emerge. When synchronicities occur, they often seem to draw from this deeper archetypal layer of reality, where meaning operates on a symbolic and deeply human level, rather than a logical or mechanistic one. People across the world and throughout history have experienced similar symbols in dreams and stories. the wise old man, the hero's journey, the dark forest, the great flood, the mother figure, the trickster. These recurring motifs are not random. They arise from the collective unconscious. When we encounter synchronicity, we often find ourselves in contact with these shared symbols, which resonate with something deeper than personal memory. For instance, a person undergoing a life transformation might begin dreaming of a rebirth, encountering butterflies or phoenixes repeatedly in waking life. These are not merely coincidences. They are expressions of an archetype of renewal that lives in the collective unconscious and becomes activated when the psyche enters a corresponding state of change. What makes synchronicity so profound is that it not only bridges the inner and outer world, but also connects the individual to something far larger than themselves. It acts as a thread, tying personal experience to the vast web of human meaning. In moments of synchronicity, one does not simply feel lucky or surprised. One feels profoundly seen, as though they have tapped into a timeless wisdom that was always there, waiting for their attention. It is this sense of recognition, of symbolic alignment, that gives these events their emotional and psychological impact. The collective unconscious also explains why symbols in dreams or synchronistic events can feel so meaningful, even when we can't fully articulate why. The conscious mind may not know the full story, but something in the depths of the psyche responds with a sense of familiarity and significance. This is why a recurring image, animal, or number can follow someone through important life periods, carrying a message or energy that feels deeply personal, yet undeniably universal. The person experiences it as their own, but it comes from a well much deeper than their individual psyche. It comes from the collective. The collective unconscious provides a kind of stage on which synchronicity performs. Because it is shared by all, synchronicity can manifest between people who have never met, in places one has never been, or through dreams that speak in a language not consciously known. It is not limited by the boundaries of ego or identity. When individuals begin to live with greater openness to these symbolic messages, they often find themselves drawn toward others, places, or experiences that help them unfold their deeper purpose, not by plan, but by resonance. This alignment with the symbolic fabric of the world does not create meaning as much as it reveals it, allowing the person to recognize that life is not chaotic, but archetypal, structured by invisible patterns of human experience that guide and shape the journey from within, the unconscious mind, outward into the world. Archetypes are primordial images and patterns that reside deep within the unconscious mind. They are not learned but inherited. They are not inventions but discoveries, universal motifs that express themselves through myths, dreams, symbols, and the instinctual behaviors of humanity across all cultures. Archetypes like the hero, the shadow, the lover, the seeker, the mother, the sage, they do not belong to us, yet we recognize them intimately because they live within each of us. When we encounter synchronicity in our lives, it is often a sign that an archetype is stirring, awakening, or coming into play. The outer world begins to reflect back to us the inner drama of the archetype we are unconsciously living out. These archetypes act as invisible blueprints that shape how we perceive, interpret, and respond to the events in our lives. They are energetic patterns more than static ideas. For example, someone guided by the seeker archetype might feel an unrelenting urge to travel, to learn, to chase something elusive, often without knowing exactly what that is. As this internal quest intensifies, the world around them might begin to align in strange and mysterious ways. Books appear, mentors arrive, coincidences pile up. A conversation overheard at the right moment might carry a message as if it were scripted for them. This is synchronicity not as accident, but as activation. when the archetype you are embodying begins to magnetize meaningful patterns into your life. The interplay between archetypes and synchronicity creates a deeply symbolic life path. You may believe you are making choices independently, yet your journey often unfolds in mythic terms, guided by forces older and wiser than the conscious ego. The appearance of the lover archetype, for instance, may not just manifest as romance, but as an artistic awakening, or a newfound sensitivity to beauty and connection. As this archetype becomes active, synchronicities arise that deepen emotional experiences, chance meetings with people who open your heart, songs that seem to speak to your soul, sudden attractions that defy reason. The pattern is symbolic, not logical, but it is deeply coherent when viewed through the lens of archetypal psychology. When we are out of alignment with our authentic archetypal energies, life may feel flat, aimless, or filled with resistance. But when we are living in harmony with the archetype that seeks expression through us, synchronicity becomes more frequent, even expected. Life becomes charged with symbolic meaning. This is not to say that the archetypes control us like puppets. Rather, they invite us into a deeper engagement with life. They provide structure to the chaos of experience, helping us understand why we are drawn to certain roles, challenges, or desires. Synchronicity, in this light, is how the archetypal realm communicates with the conscious self. It delivers messages that bypass the intellect and speak directly to the soul. The world becomes a kind of oracle, and seemingly chance events serve as signs, guiding us toward wholeness. These signs do not impose direction, but offer it like a compass pointing toward the terrain the psyche longs to explore. And so, what we seek in life is often an echo of an archetype seeking us, waiting to be lived through us. In responding to this call, we do not simply fulfill our personal ambitions, we step into a larger story that has been unfolding for ages, a drama in which each of us plays a necessary and irreplaceable role. When you begin to align with your authentic self, your deepest desires, core values, inner truth, you activate a resonance between your inner world and the outer world. This resonance is not forced but natural, like a tuning fork vibrating in harmony with a nearby sound. The process of aligning with your true self is not just about self-expression. It's about self-recognition. And the more you begin to recognize who you really are beneath the layers of conditioning, fear, and distraction, the more life itself begins to mirror that clarity back to you. This is where synchronicity becomes more frequent and more meaningful. It is not magic in the fantastical sense. It is the lived experience of truth calling truth across the unseen threads of existence. Authenticity is not merely about preferences or personality quirks. It is about knowing what animates you at the deepest level, what gives you a sense of purpose, what fills you with quiet certainty, what makes you feel whole rather than fragmented. Many people live according to the expectations of others, or in the pursuit of goals that do not truly belong to them. In such states of disconnection, life often feels random or oppositional. But when you begin to live from your center, when your actions emerge from the still core of your being rather than external pressure, you begin to notice that the world opens up in subtle but significant ways. Synchronicities often start to emerge in this phase, not to reward you, but to reflect that alignment. A person you've never met before says something that completes a thought you've been silently carrying. An opportunity appears just when you're ready to take a leap you couldn't explain before. These are not mere lucky breaks. They are moments of coherence between your inner readiness and the unfolding of the outer world. The more you live from truth, the more truth recognizes and meets you in return. There's a paradox here, because the more you pursue synchronicity for its own sake, the more elusive it becomes. You cannot chase these moments like prizes. They occur most readily when you are fully present, fully honest, and fully engaged with your own life. When you are not trying to be somewhere else or someone else, in this way, synchronicity is a side effect of living authentically. It is a confirmation, not a goal, and it tends to show up most powerfully when you are walking a path that feels both deeply personal and strangely guided, as if something within you and something beyond you are working in harmony. This alignment creates a field of clarity around you. Others may sense it. You may start attracting relationships, ideas, and experiences that seem to belong to you in some essential way. They are not forced into your life. They arrive with a kind of quiet inevitability. It is as if life itself is recognizing your vibration and responding to it, not because you became available to it. That availability, that openness to the path of inner truth, is the real doorway through which synchronicity enters. You are not imposing your will on the world. You are listening to the subtle way the world is echoing your essence back to you. When you step into alignment with yourself, the world steps forward to meet you in kind. The phrase, "What you seek is also seeking you," holds within it a profound psychological and spiritual truth. It speaks to the mysterious way in which our most sincere longings are not isolated wishes, but are part of a larger dynamic, a call and response between the inner self and the living universe. When a desire arises from the depths of your being, it is rarely just a fleeting preference. It often signals a readiness for transformation, for growth, for a new stage in your inner evolution. These longings, especially those that persist and stir the soul, are not random. They are clues pointing towards something meaningful and necessary, and they tend to resonate with something in the world that is equally prepared to meet you. This is not to suggest that the universe is simply a wish fulfillment machine, responding to every passing thought or fantasy. The seeking referred to here is of a deeper kind. It arises not from the ego's craving, but from the soul's calling. And when you seek from that place, from the core of your being, life begins to respond in subtle, often unexpected ways. This is where synchronicity becomes most visible. The object of your longing, whether it is love, truth, purpose, healing, begins to make its way toward you through circumstances, chance meetings, intuitive nudges, and meaningful signs. There is a magnetism involved in this process. When you earnestly and consciously move towards something that matters to you, you begin to change. Your focus sharpens, your perception deepens, and your energy shifts. And as your internal state transforms, you begin to attract corresponding experiences. It is not about sitting still and wishing. It is about aligning your entire being, your thoughts, emotions, and actions with what you are truly seeking. In doing so, you create space for that which you seek to find, you as well. This movement is rarely linear. Often what you are seeking will test you before it reaches you. Life may present situations that challenge your sincerity, patience, or willingness to grow. These moments are part of the dialogue. They are the universe's way of preparing you to receive what you seek in a form that truly serves your evolution. And sometimes, what you receive is not exactly what you imagined, but it is what you most need. It comes not to satisfy a surface desire, but to answer a deeper longing you may not have fully understood at first. There is also a mysterious timing to this process. You may seek for years without apparent response, only to find that when the moment is truly right, when you are ready in ways you couldn't have rushed, the thing you've been seeking arrives with grace and clarity. This is not coincidence. It is synchronicity in its highest form, a meeting of inner and outer readiness, a convergence of need and meaning, a moment where the soul's hunger meets the world's answer. In such moments, the line between the seeker and the sought disappears. You realize you have been part of a larger pattern all along, a pattern that included your longing, your effort, your transformation, and ultimately, the fulfillment of what felt at first like a distant hope. What you seek is also seeking you, because the universe is not separate from your inner life. It is woven into it, and when your seeking is honest, humble, and whole, it becomes a signal that life responds to, often in the most astonishing and synchronistic ways. In the quiet language of symbols, signs, and seemingly chance encounters, life speaks to us, not as a puzzle to be solved, but as a mystery to be lived. Synchronicity is not just a phenomenon, it is an invitation. It calls you to align with your authentic self, to trust the invisible threads of meaning that bind the inner and outer worlds, and to walk your path with a deeper awareness that what you seek, with sincerity and heart, is already moving toward you. In embracing this sacred dance between the self and the world, you no longer walk alone. You walk with life, guided not by force, but by resonance.